Welcome to the Smarter Leadership Podcast, where we explore the power of leadership, from overcoming challenges to shaping cultures and building a lasting legacy. Through inspiring stories and insights from our guests, we'll share transformative lessons to help you thrive in today's interconnected world. I'm Tucci. Join us for conversations that will inspire thought and action. Michael Zormelo is the Group CEO of the Omni Group of Companies Africa, a serial entrepreneur with businesses spanning oil and gas, agriculture, manufacturing, construction, real estate, and healthcare. He's known for his innovative and practical approach to leadership. Michael's commitment to driving growth and transformation across diverse industries has established him as a prominent figure in the business landscape. So, Michael, when you look in the mirror today, figuratively, are you where you thought you would be, say, 20, 25, 30 years ago?
That's a very tough question, but to be honest with myself and very, very genuine with myself, I would say no.
So let's take it back to the beginning then. Tell me a little bit about your early childhood. What's the earliest memory that comes to mind?
Childhood, I remember that my dad used to buy a lot of Lego toys for us because he always believed that Lego was very constructive and it helps the child become independent in his own way. The child's brains work independently. So I do remember those days of Lego, and I can tell you that we had Legos that could be close to maybe 3 or 4 boxes. Yes, that was the only toy my parents bought for us.
Maybe this is a hint as to why you're such a builder. We'll be talking about that, but I followed your journey, and I think you've been building on building. And when I talk about building, you have, a construction business, you have a real estate business now too. But I mean, you've literally been building. You've been adding new businesses, new products. You've been looking at new ways of doing things. And this is, giving me some little glimpses.
Well, I never knew that would have been connected to what I do, but I found the connection.
It's so interesting. So you mentioned your dad buying you Legos. That was a key person, I guess, in your life. Who else would you mention? So. Maybe if I can ask, who has had the single biggest impact on your life? Maybe it's several people. Just could share with us. And
that's a good one. Who would have a good impact on my life? I would say a gentleman called Mr. Etia. And the reason I always say that was that when I came back from the US, I used his office as a stepping stone to where I am. And I'm a fast learner, and I learned a lot from him within the short time I spent in his office, 3 to 4 months, before I set up my own office. I learned how business is done in Ghana, how to connect with older people, how to connect with different people in society. And, I can say that, Mr. Chia, thank you so much that without that experience, I may not be where I am, because it gave me a different perspective about life in Africa. Coming from the US, you think everything is blue collar. You dot the I's, you cross the T's, and everything would happen. But in his environment, that was not the case. It was very, very different. It was things they will not teach you in the business school. So again, I think, for my journey in Ghana, in Africa, I would say he was my first stepping stone. The second person is Sami Suraya, who owns a company called the Matalek Group.
Okay.
He was my first international engagement, which, seeing how his business was set up, seeing how he did things, told me about his journey to where he got to, kind of influenced me that if Sami came from humble beginnings and now ran this multinational institution in Lebanon and has offices in Paris and some in Africa, Algeria, then, I could also walk that journey. So I think they are the two people who I can say that my journey of entrepreneurship in Ghana I looked at their, footsteps and just said, okay, I can also do it. Yeah.
I love that you shared those two stories because, the first one you mentioned, it was just about 3 to 4 months. But the fact that it could have such a big impact on you, people are watching you today. People are, really in deep admiration for what you've been able to build. And they often want to know how you got there. And, understanding that being, in a place for even just a few months, you can learn so much. You can take advantage of it, learning from people who have been there before, and really take something from it. I think it's so important because today people want to take shortcuts. They expect that from one day to the next, they've made it, whatever that means, whatever made it means. But, you're showing that you learn, you watch, you try, and you grow. And I think it's so rich and so wonderful to hear that.
So let me just add on to what you said about the journey. The journey you're seeing today started close to 1995. We're talking about 29 years of journey, but people have only seen 8 years of that. That's out of the 30 or 29 years of this journey. It's 8 years of it that people are experiencing, but nobody talks about the 20 years where things were not adding up, where it was a struggle to get things done, building confidence, getting to know people, disappointments in all aspects of life. So you're right, people don't understand that everybody just wants to see the finished product and said, I want to be like him, and his life is easy for him. He gets everything on a silver platter, but it's not the case. Because 20 years ago, it wasn't the case, or 29 years ago, it was not the case.
So tell us a bit about, when you first started out. So you came back from the States, you had a little stint, working, you said, with Mr. Chua's company, seeing a little bit how businesses can thrive. And then you set out on your own. Talk to us a bit about that.
I worked in his office. He gave me
a space
in his office, but I had my own ideas, my own business. So I started selling equipment, the PABX in those days. I don't think they use them anymore. So that is how my journey started. Our first contract was with Lands Commission. So we did their first PABX installation for them. And that is how the journey began. We had a shop in Kingsway building called Swansea Arcade, selling computers, accessories, and other office equipment. So that is how the journey started.
So what were some of the pitfalls? How did you take that business and then, grow it into what you have today? Does that business even still exist? At what point did you make certain changes and change the course of this entrepreneurship journey?
We always say that life, some dots connect along the way. You meet people along the crossroads, and your journey takes a different direction. So it has to do with ECG, because I was supplying paper and some other toner cartridges to ECG in those days of Ghana. And one of the directors there said, Massa, you are working hard, you are do you make money? When I say bring one toner cartridge, you bring it, you deliver. When I say do this, is that money what you're doing for the kind of business you're doing, and the kind of passion you have? Why don't you take this list of materials at electricity company and see if you can connect to somebody who would be able to work with you? So that is how Sami Sura came into the picture. He was introduced to me by some friends of mine in Nigeria, from the MyCom group. And that is how it started. So it was like, okay, I said, I have somebody who can supply transformers. He said, please come, and then, let's have a discussion. And God being good, and I think that's the direction God wanted me to take, we got that first breakthrough. And after getting that breakthrough, it was now the decision of, do we continue to build on the list that I was given, or, continue with this B2C business to consumer. But eventually, remember that the computer business changed drastically, where people were no longer, where people were bringing the computers in themselves. Unlike before, when there was no form of, people didn't know where to get it from. But the business changed, after 5-6 years, everybody was bringing it, and it became a business for everyone.
Okay.
People traveled, they bring 5 or 6 computers, they sell. So the market became very, very saturated. And for us, also taking a new direction in the power sector, we decided that enough is enough. So after selling out most of the stocks that we had, we didn't replace them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would like to say that we're one of the first companies to do high purchase for computers, because at that time it was quite an expensive office equipment to get. So we started the high purchase.
For individuals, for
yeah,
consumers.
for individuals, for consumers, yes.
That's great.
We had something like that, yeah. And we were advertising in the newspapers. I think we're one of the first people to start advertising, buy one, get one free, Friday splash. It was a Friday that were open till almost 10 p.m. Yes, and it was good. Those were good days. Those were good days. Yeah.
Let's move to one of the bad times or the bad days, because inevitably, when you're, driving businesses, building businesses, there are bound to be some, pitfalls along the way. We've talked about one of the breakthroughs with this computer business. You shared the breakthrough. What was maybe the first instance of what you might consider failure in the business, in the entrepreneurship world, and how did it make you feel? Also, how did you get through it?
So that's an interesting one. So it's still connected to the IT business, where we were doing things on high purchase, and the credit lines we had were in US dollars. And the exchange rates just took a different direction, and we had all those receivables in Ghana cedis. So there was a shortfall in the facilities that we had to repay back based on the exchange rate. And for me, it was one of those things that I never thought happened, where you collect all your money, but you're still short of what you need to pay the bank by 30% because of the exchange rates. Yeah, for me, that was one of my
low points.
Yeah, but thanks to a gentleman called Mr. Mackenbrook, who was the MD of Trust Bank at that time, who understood and said, Michael, you're an honest person, so we will work around it, we'll restructure, but you need to look for other businesses to come and repay this negative in the books. And he spoke and said, you can refuse to pay, but eventually will come to hunt you. So I think that you should, if you have any assets to sell, anything you can do to recover, do it so that you can always have a good name with the banking system. Yeah.
So Michael, there's been a running theme. You've mentioned people throughout. At every instance, you've mentioned people or a person, who has been a connector or who has supported in some way, shape or form. And I've, spent a lot of time with you, especially over the last few years. And I really see you as a people's person. You're someone who likes people, who respects people, and people are drawn to. I want to first ask you, when you're around people, how does it make you feel? I know that sounds like a bit of a strange question, but, I've seen the dynamics, I've seen how you interact with people and how you make people feel. It would be good to understand how it also makes you feel when you're around people.
If I've been asked such a question before, I don't know, I feel happy. I mean, if I'm around people that I share common goals with, I'm happy, I feel connected, I feel energized. Yes, especially when I'm being challenged, like you. Yes, don't forget you're one of my mentors, and you'll be mentoring me. The fact that I've not mentioned you doesn't mean you're not, but I'm sitting in front of one of my mentors, one of my business direction mentors in Tucci. Thank you for all the advice you give
Michael.
Me along this journey.
It's exciting. It's exciting every time I engage with you. Watching your mind work, the ideas churn, but also that relentless drive. You're someone who's extremely motivated when you want to go for something, you go for it. And, I was asking you a few minutes ago about the knocks and the challenges, but I've noticed that you seem to take them. It's never easy. Let's not pretend. I mean, when you're going through tough times in business, but you're still able to smile and you're still able to give people, that respect and that, camaraderie. It's something that is really wonderful to see. I get a lot of questions from people in my networks when I go to different events, conferences, when I speak at places about networking and about how to do it better. You're not somebody who is a by the book person. So I'm not going to ask you for tips and, lists of things, but you clearly do it well.
Thank you.
So I don't know, what is the secret? How are you able to bring so many people into your fold?
I think it has to do with you as a person and what you believe in. What you give, you get back. Kindness, politeness, honesty, integrity, always giving a helping hand, always making sure that you don't exchange favors. Do things because you want to do it. Let your heart direct you. And I believe that people can see through that. You meet people and people say you meet someone in the next 5 minutes. You're either happy or you're not happy, or to continue a conversation or not. But I think that my travel experience also helps, because when I meet people, I try to find a common, topic that we can discuss. And most of the time it's traveling in restaurants. I love the spas. I just go to the spa. Some people yes, some people don't. I'm not a golfer. So when they talk about golf, I say, well, I can't play golf. I now give my experience about golf, where I went to play golf and then I had to take a phone call and I missed the phone call and it cost me a business transaction. I said, I'll never come to the golf course again.
But what
and
about the transactions that happen on the course?
And that's what they say. But I'll say that the one I tried, I lost it. Because
it happens in the 19th hole, they say.
The call that was coming through, I was on the golf course. Phone was in my pocket. I didn't hear it. And I lost that transaction. So I told myself that our golf may not be for me, maybe another time, because I didn't want it to happen again where there's a missed call and, so, and, for what I do, having suppliers in different parts of the world, it's quite challenging. I can do a walk in the morning, but the golf is, and I mean, we're talking about golf because of networking.
Yes.
But so it's also part, I tell people my golf experience, they laugh about it. A lot of people have tried to get me to play golf every time. Why don't you come and play golf? But what I do is that on Sundays, I sit in the golf course with the guys at
the 19th hole, after they've done the round. I met you once.
Sit there, we laugh with them. I join people. You play golf? No, I said, what are you doing here? I'm just joining my friends. This is the best part of the game. So I'm here for the best part of the game. So yes, I found a solution to that also. That the golf course may not work, but after the party, I can have my phone and everybody has their phone, so I don't miss anything,
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't know this about you, but you have a really crazy sense of humor. You laugh a lot. And, you don't take things too seriously. This is a good thing. Do you believe that it's part of your, secret to remaining calm, under pressure?
Yeah, but my office doesn't think so. My office thinks I give them a lot of pressure.
That's a different kind of pressure. When we talked about some of the knocks that you've had to take, you kind of, you take it on the shoulder and you move. It's different from the other type of pressure you give when you're kind of driving the team to do things.
Because I know I was once told that when you are partaking the kind of journey we take and you let people read through your facial expression, you've given 90% of your success tools away. And what they mean is that if every time you're having a conversation with someone who can read that you're in trouble, they run away from you. So in order to attract people, you can't allow them to see any difficulties or any challenges you are having. If they are not connected to the challenge, if they are connected to the challenge, you have a discussion with them. But if they are not, then everybody can read you. Oh, he's in a bad mood. His veins are showing. Hey, what's happening? Has he lost something? Has he lost all his money? It becomes a discomfort and this challenging position for you, especially when when you're connecting with people or you're having different meetings. So as much as possible, I mean, the rule of thumb is to just keep it in you and always share it with people who can sympathize with you and can say, it's going to be fine. Just continue the way it's going.
Wonderful. Yeah. So on that, you're also a family man. You have, a lot of love. I've seen the interactions you have with your family. You have, children. You have one boy, one son, and a whole bunch of daughters. Yeah. So do they boss you? Do they rule you? How does it feel being a man of many women?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, okay, the two girls I'm quite close to. Actually, I have 5 girls, so the older ones, we're quite close. They show up when they want to show up because they are graduates. They have their own life now. They're leading their own path. And then we have Michaela that I spend a lot of time with, and I try to make her happy. And so I try to meet her demands, and sometimes watching from afar, you think she has me wrapped around her little finger, but it's just that I just want to give her as much love as I can because of the difference in the age between her and then her other siblings. And then I have my...
She's a strong little one.
Yeah, she's a strong little one, And then we have the twins that are coming up, Started swimming with them at a month ago.
That's
they're
good.
8 months old now.
And you're swimming with them. That's good. So you're maintaining your swimming and you're keeping yourself active.
Yeah, but when we swim with them, it's different. It's like, being a lifeguard. Your eyes are all over the place. You can't do anything that would put their lives in danger.
You mentioned a few moments ago how you love the spa. What else do you do to relax? Because definitely you're someone very driven, and when it comes to the work, you kind of have a bullet mind. But I know that you are able to step back sometimes. What is it that makes you?
I do the spa. I travel a lot. I like good restaurants. And then, funny enough, I don't know how I got into this social media business, this TikTok, this Instagram.
Oh, you have a TikTok account?
I don't, but I watch people. But I have an Instagram account. It's not. So it's something that I got into. I don't know how, and I'm trying to
extricate yourself from
disconnect. But it's just something that is impossible. But I don't know what I get from it.
It's light. I guess it's light entertainment. Sometimes when you're thinking about serious things all day.
Nigerian short movies or comedy, and then you have the Ghanaian one, you have, the Chinese one. I even got into watching some of the small Chinese series. And the funny thing about the Chinese series is that they're always talking about somebody from humble beginnings and then he becomes great, or somebody who, the storyline is always the same. Sometimes they just see me laughing and my family think this man's going crazy, but it's that kind of entertainment.
Just let some air.
Something light, doesn't make sense, but just keeps me going.
That's cool.
I swim a lot. I love swimming, so I do swim a lot.
At least you've been disciplined about that. I wish I could say the same. I used to be sporty. Now I do nothing, and I feel quite ashamed at times.
You dance well, so I guess that's your sport.
I wish I could. I wish I could agree with you. In fact, I'm going to take dancing lessons so that now when anyone sees me dance, they won't call you a liar.
But I know once in a while you're doing yoga. You still do the yoga?
I try. It's been about 6 months or more. Did a Pilates class, but I do like it when I do it. I just need to be more disciplined about it. So, Michael, what do you consider to be your biggest mistake, the biggest mistake you've made so far in life, and how has it shaped or changed the way you have done things since then?
So I think that for people like us, we can't use the word mistake, and the reason means that anytime you use the word mistake, you regret. We have a low we have our high moments, we have decisions that we will take that may not be right, and then we need to find a solution to fix it immediately. So I would not say that, there's a point in my life that I've made a decision that I have regretted. I've made a decision that went wrong, and it was left to me to ensure that I'm back on the path that would ensure that, whatever mistakes were made will not be repeated. I mean, what we do, we gamble sometimes. When I say we gamble, what does that mean? Being a chief executive, you make some decisions by yourself. You seek advice, but at the end of the day, you veto it and you make a decision by yourself. So you can't regret those. You just have to make sure that you put it back on track. Yeah.
But you've taken quite a few risks in business, right? Would you consider all of them to be calculated risks, or have there been some where you've just decided to just go for it, whether or not it's,
So,
and what would you say is the proportion of those that might be calculated versus those which you just want to run with because, you feel good about them?
Yeah. So I think that if it's calculated, then it's not a risk because you have ticked all the boxes that you are safe.
Well, some.
It depends, because if you're confident that what the decision you've taken is positive, then it's you just have to live with the circumstances. But I think that most people think I like to be on the edge because I think that I would say that God has an impact in my life. So things happen to me in 24 hours. Maybe I need to get a signature from someone. If I don't get it within that 24 hours, things would go sour. And it comes through. Maybe, we need to get something done within a short time. And I'll not wait for the results to come, but become proactive in proceeding. I always move forward, praying to God that the answer I'll get would be positive. I'm the kind of person that if you tell me you're giving me a contract, I can go ahead and start working without a contract. So I think that maybe if we're going to talk about maybe some decisions that I made, it's not about the business, but about what the person will tell you, that it's your own business. You decided to start without the proper documentation, so that's your own business. And why are you, discussing with me? Then that is heartfelt because you're looking at the person and the person is not telling you that it's your own business, and you're like, but is the person not sensitive at all? But it's only happened once in the case where the person literally said, well, it's your business. You decided to do things your own way and do it, blah, 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 blah. But apart from that, when we take those decisions, we're able to reconnect to people who understand that the risk you take is to make sure that whatever project you're going to embark, they get delivery on time. Fast execution. Yeah.
Do you see you've brought something out again? Because I asked if you take risks, and the answer I got was that yes, you do, but even in those cases, for the most part, you're doing it with people who you've established some kind of rapport, some kind of trust. And it just takes me back to what I was saying earlier about how you really are a people's person. As from what I'm understanding, yes, some of the decisions you take, they don't work, others do, but for the most part, things have been positive. And that is a testament to the types of relationships you build. And honestly, I'm harping on about it, but it's because it's so important. It's currency, and it's something that people can get a lot from. In today's world, I see people taking people for granted. I see people, with an entitlement mentality. They don't realize that you put in the work, but you also have to respect those who have gone before you, and respect relationships, because that's essentially how you're going to thrive. So I really appreciate hearing these stories and ultimately lessons from you.
All right, thank you.
How do you consider hierarchy, or let me rephrase it, is hierarchy in your organization important? Are there people in your organization, regardless of where they sit in terms of hierarchy, that you wouldn't want to lose or couldn't afford to lose, even if they're at the lowest level in terms of hierarchical order?
Hierarchy is connected to loyalty, honesty. So if they have a hierarchy which is lazy, it's a totally different ballgame. You don't care if you lose the person or not. So the valuable hierarchy, yes, for any business institution, you don't want to lose them. You want to do whatever you can to keep them. I will even go as low as saying my driver. Definitely, I've been with him for almost 10, 15 years. Somebody that I wouldn't want to let go. And then a couple of people that we work with, because they become part of you. And you feel a certain love for them that you may not have for everyone. Yeah.
Loyalty.
Yeah.
And hard work.
And hard work, yeah.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
It's not about the role, it's not about the position. Yeah. What do you fear most about the future?
That's a very interesting one. I mean, the cycle about businesses in Africa where 10 years from now the business is not existing. And then people say, oh, your father's business, I remember that. We hear it all the time in Ghana. So I think that for me, it's always my fear. We're trying to put structures in there so that we can continue to grow as a business. Some people say that, oh, it's Mr. Zormelo, that's why the business is thriving. But we're trying to see if, even if the business would survive 70%, lose 30, even lose 50% of the market share and still survive, I think we have achieved something. And I believe they can even do better also without us. We have our B2B businesses shouldn't have a problem if people are doing exactly the things that they see me do. Our B2C shouldn't have a problem because it's business to consumer. Our real estate business, I don't see why there should be an impact, even if leadership changes, so long as we're giving the quality and the direction and your customers are happy with you.
And we talk about, global conglomerates and multinationals who have stood the test of time and have celebrated 100 years, 150 years. So that's the direction for the Omni Group, what you really would consider or success, if I may put it that way, is to have this business sustained over time. And have any of your children shown interest in coming to help to run this company or to play a role in it?
Yes, they have my daughter Michelle,
okay,
and then also my son Mikey. He has some interest, but he also has his own vision.
Sure.
So, you also want to see his vision grow. So, yes, indeed. But in most cases, it may necessarily not be your kids that, would have interest in your business. It could be a godson, goddaughter, family friend, nephew, niece. So we leave it in the hands of God to give us the right people to take the business to the next stage.
I think what's exciting is that the group continues to grow through the different subsidiaries, the different businesses, the people, the vision. We started in Ghana, and I know that you have some operations in some other parts of Africa, but the plan is to be Africa-wide, isn't it?
So I think that we were looking at African-wide, but based on COVID and some of the experiences we had, and it was one of our challenging moments. I don't know if we call it down moments, or where we had inventory in different countries. We didn't have access to the inventory. I mean, we did lose some money during the COVID. We didn't know, because I told you my hobby, I love traveling, I like meeting my clients, I like the fine dining, and I couldn't travel. I went to the airport, and for the first time, there was no plane that was flying. My daughters had to come in to Ghana on a flight, which was one of the last flights into the country. And then they came in, they were put in isolation. So it was, I thought the world was coming to an end. I didn't even know that we'll be even sitting here having this conversation. So based on that, we decided, okay, maybe we're not strong enough to go everywhere. So we're trying to make our business Ghana and surrounding countries, like landlocked countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Togo, Benin, Ivory Coast, but not to go too far because, from the past experience, when things scatter, the other people don't have that connection with you. They scatter it for you because you're not home. So then I realized that being home, you're protected by a lot of people. During COVID, nobody's business was scattered by another person or somebody making sure that, they take advantage of the situation for Ghanaians. But for our businesses outside, we felt, this is not there anymore. What can you do? Yeah.
I think, I guess this still boils down to the people issue because building a business is hard, even in one country, in one place. Getting the right people in that place, let alone in other countries where you may not necessarily be present. But I have no doubt in the future of the Omni Group, I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more this brand name, first in these surrounding countries and, when the time is right, even further in the region. It's exciting. It's exciting to witness. It's exciting to be part of it. It's exciting to kind of walk that journey with you. I'm so glad that we could have you come today to share some of your experiences. There are so many, so I know we'll bring you back again to share some more, but I continue to watch and learn and enjoy everything that you're doing to build this wonderful Ghanaian and ultimately African business. Michael, thank you so much for joining me today.
I also want to say thank you so much for your direction, your advice, your strategy. I'll say that if you talk about strategy, for me in the world, I'll consider you as one of the top strategists in the world. I've sat with you, we've had conversations, we've put pen on paper, we've looked at the future, we've looked at projections, and you're good at what you do. And thank you so much for those wonderful moments we spent together.
Thank you.
And those moments as one of those that are driving us, because you said you can make it, and you always said you can be an African business, you can be one of the strong businesses in Ghana. And today I'm proud to say that yes, indeed, the top 5 local indigenous companies, I can sign signature to that.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to see. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right.